Hey guys, I'm back with review 20 of 365. Woot! This is going to be on book 6 of the Black Dagger Brotherhood, if surprise, surprise. Book 6 is Lover Enshrined, and this is Fury and Cormia's story from the previous book. So, I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you've either read the books up to this or watched my videos. So, if you haven't read these books and you're watching this video, go back and look in the doobly-doo below and watch the first review of the first book, or pick up all 6 books, or you'll be lost. On that note, the Primal is like the brother that is supposed to inseminate all, I guess inseminate isn't the right word. He needs to have sex and have babies with all the Chosen, so that a whole new generation of Chosen and brothers can be born. You can't fight the war against the lessening society unless you have brothers to fight it, and only vampire males born from a Chosen can be in the Brotherhood. Although Butch, isn't like that, and neither is John Matthew, Quinn, Blaylock. None of them had Chosens as mothers. They fight with the Brotherhood, but they're not in the Brotherhood. So, the only way to be a brother is to have a Chosen for a mother. I talked about the ickiness of that in the last video. See that video if you have questions about the ickiness of that whole situation. But in the last book, Vicious got tapped to be the Primal because his mom was a scribe virgin, and she thought, hey, my kid can have sex with my creations and bam, we'll have lots of mega babies. I don't know. Instead, Fury takes his place because Vicious fell in love with Doc Jane. Fury, before this, had a vow of celibacy. Ever since, forever. He took a vow of celibacy to kind of keep his head clear when he was searching for Sadist, his twin. And even after he found Sadist, when he found what happened to him, he was used as a sex slave and a blood slave, then he just kept his vow of celibacy. So, yeah. Great combination. Guy that needs to have sex with a lot of people. Guy who's never had sex. So, that being said, Cormia, who we've met before, is like the representative of the Chosen as a whole, and the Primal and the representative have sex, kind of sealing the ritual, getting the whole thing going. So, and she'll be like his first mate. Really early on in the story, she didn't really want to do it. So he, instead of making her do it right then and there, because he didn't really want to do it either, he brings her over to the real world and kind of just leaves her. I mean, he's there too, but he's dealing with his own demons, figuratively and literally, in his head. And he's doing drugs out the wazoo, like $1,000 of this red smoke Turkish drug thing every night to keep this little voice in his head quiet. So she's like all alone. In the Fade, where she's from, everything's white, everything's even-tempered, all the food's white. You spend hours a day contemplating the scribe virgin and how awesome your life is, even though that's not how she feels on the inside. This is what she should be doing. Enter the real world, where there's thunderstorms and, different colored foods and people making noises all times of the day. So I really felt bad for her, even though she's one of my favorite characters. She really adapted well, and I think she becomes hardcore, and I kind of like that. So, like I said, he's dealing with his own demons, his own guilt about what happened to his brother because it could have been him, and his own feelings about how his parents treated him because they kind of sloughed him off after what happened to the twin, because they don't blame him, but he kind of looks like his twin, and because he came along, because they had 2 healthy males born into this family, it kind of tips the balance of fate, they feel like. So he got left alone a lot, and his parents were negligent, and it kind of all builds up until he's got some crazy going on. So, that being said, how I feel about this book. Fury is one of my least favorite brothers. I understand he's got so much background and everything, but his background's just boring compared to everybody else's, and everybody has demons. Everybody. He's not the only one, so I don't understand why his is so debilitating, and he's so helping everybody but himself. And I feel like he strings Cormia along for so long. Their sex scene buildup is outrageous, and considering that in this whole book, their story is like 15% of this book, which is nothing compared to the other books. Their sex is like spread out over 100% of that. Like, it's ridiculous. Just have sex already, for Christ's sake. So, moving on from that, he does step it up in the end, I feel like. And they have one of the best endings, I think. Like, it's very elaborate, and I like how it ends. Like, I know later on in the books you'll hear more about them, but for this book, I like how their story kind of all ties together. You know, in the end, Sadis and Bella's baby's born, which is no surprise to anybody if you've read the other books, because at the end of their book you kind of get like a little epilogue about the baby. So the baby is physically born at the end of this book, and it kind of ties everything together, and I really like that. Things that need to be talked about about what happened in this book, or before things happen in the next books. Revenge. Revenge is becoming more and more of a bigger character. Eventually he's going to get his own book. Yay! And I love him. I think he's great. I love the idea of the mohawk and the purple eyes. You need to know that he's a sympath. And I'm pretty sure it's already come up, and if not, my bad. That he has blue blood, that he has to take dopamine to kind of keep everything numbed, and to keep his sympath side, or his half sympath. So to keep his sympath side tamped down, he has to take a lot of dopamine, which makes him numb. He can't feel anything, you know. He's also being blackmailed by the princess of the sympath society, because if sympaths are like persona non grata, you know, in the vampire community, because they feed off people's bad emotions, you know, and they're tricky, and you never know if they're really dead, and that's some creepy stuff. But which there'll be more of that in Lover Mine, which is coming up in a little bit. But so the princess, you can't, oh, I keep saying that. The princess from the sympath colony, where all sympaths have to go, it's like blackmailing him into giving her these diamonds and having sex with her. And like, having sex with her is like killing him. Like vampire venom, I don't know, scorpion venom, that's it. It was gone. Scorpion venom is like getting in his system and like killing him, and he can't take the dopamine, because then she would know about that and he wouldn't be able to like have the upper hand against her. And that's all really interesting. Like I said, in this story, Fury and Cormia's story is like 15%. All the rest of the story is like super more interesting than Fury's story. So, also in this story, we're learning more about John Matthew and his gang, Quinn and Blaylock. Everybody's gone through their transition. Nope, not yet. Quinn and Blaylock have gone through their transition. So you're getting like a more feel of how important they're going to be in the story, and I love that they're picking up. On that note, we're going to talk about Lash, who I mentioned in an earlier story is the prick of all pricks. In this story, he has a major plot point, revolves around him, and it kind of helps to bring John Matthew and his crew more into the Brotherhood. I love that. That whole story is great. I wish there was a whole book on more of that, because I find John Matthew and the Lash story really interesting. But this emergence of Lash and this whole plot point helps bring the Lessening Society more into the forefront. I think now, starting with the next book, it's kind of more prevalent, so you'll be hearing more about that in my reviews too. Also, we kind of meet the Omega more, and you find out that he's like I'm trying to remember if it is this book. Yeah, or maybe the last one. But you find out that the Omega is the brother and sister to the, rephrase that. The Omega is the brother of the Scribe Virgin. She's his sister. And she got to create the vampires, and he didn't get to create anybody. So he got pissed and started, you know, yanking the hearts out of psychopaths and serial killers and turning them into lessers. And they can't eat and can't sleep and can't get it up, so their whole mission is making the Omega the man. On that note, one last thing we have to talk about, The Chosen. With all going on with Fury and Cormia, it kind of comes down to that the Scribe Virgin needs to let the Chosen out of the Fade, or not of the Fade, of the other side, and kind of let them be who they're going to be. They're her children. Let them go. And so the Fury in this story kind of changes like the whole of vampire belief system, and I kind of find that interesting, you know. And it brings a whole new like group character into the story, like the Chosen as a group become a character now, and I really like that because eventually we start picking up certain ones that we like in and out of the story, and definitely bringing more in. There's like a million characters now to keep track of, but I like that. I think it keeps it interesting, and it becomes more diverse, and it's kind of why I like this series, you know, the end game here. Although I'm not sure what the end game is yet, it just gets better and better every time. So that's all I have to say on Lover Enshrined. The next book should be up in the next day or so, the next book review. So if you like this book, or if you liked Fury and you're really pissed with the way I talked about him, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.